All right, let's jump straight into this. Today, we are embarking on a totally paradigm-shifting journey, one that actually bridges the gap between ancient mysticism and cutting-edge modern neuroscience. We're going to look at how the seemingly impossible actually works on a mechanical, biological level. Basically, we are decoding the physics of miracles. You know, if you've ever felt completely stuck, like you're living the exact same day on an endless loop, or maybe you've wondered why massive shifts seem to happen for other people but not for you, well, the concepts we're decoding today are absolutely going to rewire how you view your entire reality. So, first things first, we really have to challenge a very old, kind of passive idea we all carry around. When we hear the word miracle, most of us automatically picture a random, divine exception just falling right out of the sky. It's like this magical lightning bolt of good luck that you just have to cross your fingers and hope hits you. But the truth is, Jesus wasn't performing magic tricks, and ancient mystics weren't somehow breaking the laws of physics. Not at all. They were actually utilizing a system that is incredibly advanced, completely lawful, and get this, entirely available to you right now.
Okay, the sheer scale of what you are missing literally every single second of your life is staggering. Neuroscience actually tells us that your brain actively filters out 88% of your perceptive reality. Think about that. You are only processing 12% of what is actually happening around you at any given moment. And how exactly does your brain choose that 12%? Well, it filters reality based entirely on your preconceived beliefs and your past decisions about life. You are quite literally blind to the opportunities, the solutions, and the miracles that simply don't match your current belief system.
Part 1. The Physics of Miracles, Dimensional Shifts, and Spiritual Law. To figure out how to change that massive reality filter, we need to peek behind the curtain at the mechanics of it all. We're moving into the realm of metaphysics here, which is basically the physics behind the physics. Miracles, they aren't magic. They are predictable, lawful dimensional shifts. I want you to imagine yourself sitting right in the center of an infinite number of portals or doorways. We live in a multidimensional reality, right? The specific doorway that opens up for you, the portal that actually becomes your lived experience, is dictated solely by what you deeply truly believe to be true. If you believe money is scarce, well, that's the doorway you're looking through. If you believe people can't be trusted, you're walking right through that door. The universal rule here is simple, but honestly a bit brutal. You attract what you already are, not what you desperately want. Let's move to part 2, the brain's reality filter, your neurological gatekeepers. Right, so if you want to open a new door, you've got to get past your own built-in biological security guards. Meet your first gatekeeper, the default mode network. This is a brain structure that develops over the first 21 years of your life, and over time it essentially becomes your fixed personality. It is deeply embedded with all your belief systems, your stories, and yes, your past traumas. Its entire job is to filter reality so that your tomorrow looks exactly like your yesterday. Why on earth would it do that? Because the brain loves biological certainty. It's a primal survival mechanism. But the downside? It's a cage. It locks you into perceiving life the exact same way, keeping you hopelessly stuck in that endless loop we talked about earlier. Now, you've probably heard of people using medicines like ayahuasca or psilocybin to experience massive, life-altering shifts in perception. People usually call these hallucinogenics. But a much more accurate term is actually entheogenic, which simply means an other-than-ordinary experience. What these medicines are doing on a biological level is temporarily turning off that default mode network we just looked at. The cage totally dissolves, the fixed personality drops, and suddenly you can perceive the vast reality that was literally always sitting right there. But hey, here is the absolute best news. You do not need the medicine to drop the cage. We can achieve this totally naturally. So the real key here is understanding how to reprogram your second gatekeeper, the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. Think of this like the classic new car phenomenon. You go out and buy a red car, and suddenly, what happens? You see that exact red car everywhere you drive. Now, the car didn't magically become more popular overnight. Your RAS simply shifted its filter to start highlighting it for you. When you make a new, uncompromising decision about your life, like deciding that prosperity is your absolute birthright, you biologically force your RAS to stop filtering out the good stuff. It immediately starts showing you the evidence, the ideas, and the previously unseen opportunities that confirm your new decision. It's a real game changer. Part 3. Escaping the primal state, the hidden cost of resistance. But making a new decision, that is honestly only half the battle. We have to shift our focus over to the nervous system because your nervous system completely dictates whether your physical body is actually capable of receiving this new reality. Generally, we operate in one of two states,
On one hand, we have the primal state. This is your sympathetic nervous system, the classic fight, flight, or freeze. It's all about stress, anxiety, overwhelm, and most importantly, resistance. When you're in this state, you are entirely disconnected from any real solutions. On the flip side is the powerful state. This is the parasympathetic nervous system, rest, digest, peace, and joy. This state is exactly where intuition, true wealth, and miracles reside. You simply cannot receive a miracle if you are constantly stuck in a primal state of survival. And that brings us to the ultimate equation for materializing the impossible. It goes like this: desire plus non-resistance equals your desired result. Notice what it's not. It is not desire plus hustle and grind. It is not desire plus obsessively figuring out exactly how it's all going to happen. Constantly worrying about the how, judging yourself, stressing over the timeline, all of that is just biological resistance. When you finally drop that resistance, the result materializes 100% of the time. So how do we drop that resistance? Well, your body has to feel completely safe and surrendered before your life can actually reorganize itself. To do this, you have to tone your vagus nerve, which essentially acts like a master switch between those primal and powerful states we talked about. And you can do this in a bunch of practical ways: cold plunging, deep focus breath work, simply humming or chanting, or even somatic release, which is like physically shaking all that accumulated tension right out of your limbs. You have to actively signal safety to your own biology. I want you to pause for a second and be totally honest with yourself here. Internally calculate your own metric of resistance right now. How many hours a day do you spend stressed out, anxious, maybe worried about money, or comparing yourself to people on the internet? The average person actually spends a staggering 8 hours every single day in this primal state of fear and overwhelm. That is 8 solid hours a day actively blocking the exact reality they are desperately trying to create. No way, right? Which leads us to part 4, the miracle formula, engineering the impossible. All right, now that we understand the actual mechanics of the brain and the nervous system, let's put the whole shebang together. Here is the ultimate, highly actionable 3-step blueprint to engineer the impossible. Step 1, decide it is done. You have to make a firm, completely unwavering decision about your new reality. Step 2, enter total non-resistance. Use those tools we just covered to regulate your nervous system so your body actually feels safe enough to receive the outcome. And finally, step 3, lift from the end, starting today. You need to assume the identity of your future self right now. Step 3 is absolutely where the real magic happens. If you already had the vibrant health, the incredible relationship, or the millions in the bank, who would you be? How would you walk into a room? How would you talk to people? Name that future version of yourself. Tell yourself, this is who I am, so this is what I do. Remember, your brain literally cannot distinguish between a real physical experience and a vividly imagined one. So when you live as your new identity right now, you are literally recording a memory of a future that hasn't even happened yet directly into your biology. You are closing the gap between who you are today and the person who has already received the miracle. We're going to wrap up with this beautifully provocative thought from Confucius. The man who thinks he can and the man who thinks he can't are both right. Your brain, your nervous system, and the physical universe itself will always align to prove your deepest decisions true. The reality you are experiencing today, that was created by your previous thinking. You absolutely do not have to base your future on what your bank account or your circumstances look like right now. The physics of miracles are available to you this very second. So the question is, what new decision are you going to make about your reality today?